Hey guys, we got another one for you today on an electric range. It is a dual use element. So what that means is there's an inner and there's an outer. So there's an outer ring for the bigger pots, and then there's a small ring or the inner part of it for a small pot. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a few. I'll show you what it looks like when it's not working properly, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it is working properly. We're going to get into diagnosing it. We're going to check for continuity on it, see if the element's bad, and we're also going to check for power. So if you got either problem, this video should help you out with that. So y'all stay tuned. We'll get to it here in a sec. Alright, we're going to turn this thing on to the dual use, and you see the outer ring is on and the inner ring is off. So both of them are supposed to be on in this position. And then if you go over to single, the whole thing will go dark and there will be nothing on. And this is when the single burner is supposed to be working. And this is what it's supposed to look like. This is the dual use, so you can put a bigger pot on this element here. Alright, just to let y'all know, whenever I was working on this unit, I had power on it. I was in a situation where I couldn't get power off. This was a customer's lake house, and I had a key code to get in their house to do what I needed to do to get it done and everything. And I couldn't reach them by phone or nothing. And I'm not that type of guy who will roam around someone's house looking for a breaker box. Wasn't a big deal to me, but for you guys, y'all want to have power off whenever I show you how to get into this and check for continuity, because you don't want to hurt yourself. Me, I'm a professional. I've been doing this for quite a while now, and I know how to keep myself safe. Just remember, when you're working on this, turn power off unless you need it to do the voltage test, which I'll show you how to do in a few. And I'll probably keep on saying this over and over again. When you're working on this, have your power off so you don't hurt yourself. Anyways, we'll get back into getting to this element and checking it out. Alright, to get to most of these elements on these freestanding ranges is you got some screws to get out of the front, and then once you get those out, you can lift it up. And then when you lift it up, I like to shim it with something, whether it's a little toolbox you may have or something like that. But I'm going to hold it up with this guy here, and I'm going to make sure it's not on anything electrical so I don't short anything out or hurt myself. But this is the element. And you got 2 wire connections. The 2 I'm taking off are the connections that actually go to the inner coil and the outer coil. The outer coil is the one on the left, along with the one on the very right, which leads to that other part. But the one I'm messing with now, that's for the inner coil. You'll see where I'm going to put my leads here in a few, but the ones on the outside, that'll read the outer coil, and then the one in the middle, and then the one on the right, you'll read the inner coil. So we're going to get a continuity reading on them. Yeah, we're going to do the outside one first, and we got continuity there, and then we do the inner and no continuity. So for the readings I'm getting right now, I know that this element is bad. And then here in a few, I'm going to do a voltage check to see if it's getting voltage. So I'm going to put it over to the single coil, so only voltage is going to one of those leads. I'll take one lead and put it on the connection that I got off the middle, and then read the other one. I didn't get a good look at my meter, but doing this test, I got 240 volts, or it might be 253 or something like that, but voltage is there. So if you got voltage, or if you read continuity, or you got an open line on the inner coil, you got to replace the element. If you don't have a meter, you can drop the element and take a look at it. And most elements, guys, whenever you take a look at them, you'll see if they're bad or not. You'll see a broken spot in them or a burnt mark or something like that. But yeah, we're going to drop this, and we'll get into detail on actually how to get this thing down here in a few. I just want to show you another option for you if you don't have a meter, so you can determine whether or not you need an element or not. So once you drop it, you'll be able to get a good look at it and see if you see any bad spots in it. All right, we got that element out. We're going to take a look at it. And if you look right above my right hand, you can see the coils. I mean, they're just burnt out. And that goes to the inner coil. All right, folks, that's how you determine if you have a bad element. And in this case, we do have a bad element, and we're going to get into replacing that element here in a few. I just want to remind y'all, whenever you go to replace these, you want to have power off. Again, I don't have power off on this, so I'm being extra careful. I actually prepped it a little bit before I started videotaping it. There's one lead on there that has power. So I took that lead off and I electrical taped it. So that guy will already be off before I start replacing this thing. So that's one thing you guys won't see me do. I just want to let y'all know about that. But we're going to get into replacing this element here in a few. And if you guys need this element, I'll have it linked in the description below. So if y'all need it, go ahead and pick it up. This is a GE freestanding range, electric range. So if y'all happen to need an element on this, I'll link all of them in the description below. So I'll label them left front, right rear, left rear, and I'll even put the model number in the description as well. So if y'all have this exact same model number, you'll be able to pick up the element for them. So yeah, if y'all need any of those elements, just look in the description below. It'll be there for you. But we're going to get into replacing this element. So yeah, that's next. All right, now folks, with power off, you can just disconnect all these. You just got to remember where they go. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wire connections. If y'all don't think you'll remember, snap a picture of it, of where they go, and you'll be able to get them back on, and you won't have to worry about miswiring it and maybe messing something up if you miswire it. So snap a picture of it. Can't go wrong. I do it all the time. Once you get the wires off, you got these little clips. You just gotta pry them off a little bit, and then you can do it on the other side, the same way. And actually, it'll probably be a little bit easier, holding it in place and then getting that clip off. This one gave me a little bit of trouble, but once you get it off, you just get the new element on there. So yeah, we'll finish getting this thing off, and we will get another look at this bad element and what a bad element looks like, and we'll compare it to the new one, so y'all be able to actually see the difference. But here is the bad element. You can see it broken close to my thumb there. And then this is what a good element's supposed to look like. Nice and pretty and clean, and there's no broken coils. And that piece right there I'm messing with, that somehow got over to the right. And that might be why it went out. Maybe when this thing was manufactured it done this or something, I don't know. Can't explain why that happened. But before we get into this, underneath this element there's numbers on them. And we'll get a good close-up of it, but I believe the number is 54 and 15. And what these numbers do, it helps you line it up properly. So if you can get the numbers of where those clips were, you just line those clips up with those numbers and it'll be in the perfect spot. So if you look at it, you can see, okay, that one was taken off on 54. And then you'll look on the other side and you can see some evidence of where that clip was. You're like, okay, well that one goes on 15. So as long as you match those up, she'll be in the right spot, she'll be perfect, and you won't have to worry. So just remember 54 and 15, and it may be different on your model too, folks. So make sure you guys know what numbers those clips go on, and yeah, can't get it wrong as long as you use the same numbers, and if it's the right part as well. So make sure you guys get the right parts for these things. But anyways, we're going to get it in place. We're going to match up those numbers where those clips go, and we're just going to snap it into place. Got a bad angle here, so I apologize for that. Just to remind myself what number it goes on, I looked at the other element, line it up, and these clips are pretty nice. They're harder to get off than on. So once you line it up, you just pull it over, and there's a little tab inside of those clips, and they go right into that hole. So once that thing's in place, you get those wires back where they go. That's where you reference that picture you guys took. But yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory as long as you reference that picture. So I'm going to let you guys watch this for a little bit, and I'll chime in a second. Alright, this is the wire I was referencing to you folks earlier. I electrical taped it. There is 120 on this thing. It is hot. So I am going to line it up with my needle nose and get that thing on there, being as careful as I can be so I don't hurt myself and I don't blow a circuit breaker or nothing. So remember, whenever you guys are taking these things off and putting a new one on, make sure you have power off. If I had the option, I'd have power off right now. But again, I was very careful, took all precautions to not hurt myself. So I checked all those wires under there too to make sure that was the only one that had power on it, and it was. But anyways, once you get it all together, all those wires back on, you drop it back down, test the element out, make sure it's working. We're going to try the dual, and then boom, there she is. That is a proper working element. So yeah, that's pretty much it, folks. We'll show you what it looks like on the single side as well. You know, we changed it from the double to the single, and there it is. You can put a smaller pot on that thing. But anyways, we got this thing up and running. She's good to go. You got to put those screws back in the bottom of this, so I'm about to do that now. But once you get those screws in, I mean, that's it. Your repair's done. And one more time for everybody, make sure you have power off before you change out that element. Don't be stupid like me, plan ahead. Make sure you know where the circuit breaker is and all that. But again, I appreciate y'all watching. Like and subscribe.